Today we're going to be talking about 13 must-start players for Week 5, and what we do is we go game by game, matchup by matchup, and try to identify that must-start play from that game. And we also talk about a bunch of other players as well. But if you need lineup advice, drop your questions in the comment section below, and I will get to all of them by Saturday night and into Sunday morning, answering all your guys' questions, helping you with your lineups. Also, hit that subscribe button. Stop missing out on those deep dives that we do almost every single day on the waiver wire players. We also help you set lineups. We help you win those trades and everything else. But let's dig in to the 15 must-start players from this week. So the first matchup we're looking at is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills. We got 48 over under. Vegas is saying this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm kind of feeling so as well. So we could see that happening here this week. Looking at the matchup here, I like Travis Etienne this week. He's getting a 75.9% opportunity share. The Bills are averaging 17.6 points per game allowed to running backs. This is going to be a good game for him to really post some production here. He's getting 4 targets a game, 11.2% target share. Getting used in the passing game. So no matter where the game script goes, he's going to be getting opportunities, running a lot of routes per game. The run back options for the Bills, obviously Stephon Diggs. He's been having a huge season. He's going to be getting a large target share still in this game. And then James Cook having a great season, a quiet, great season. But he's getting volume in the passing game. He looks electric. He's getting opportunity. Going to our next matchup here, the Houston Texans at the Atlanta Falcons. 41 over under. Vegas is saying, hey, this one might be a little bit slower. And looking at both teams, I can see where it can get a little bit nasty, but I can also see the Texans pushing the pace here, scoring some points, and making this a hot matchup as well. So going here for a must-start is Bijan Robinson because he's electric. It does not matter where the game script's at. He's scoring fantasy points. Texans are 8th in the league in points allowed. The running backs 20.1 points per game. And Robinson's getting a lot of workload here. 58.6% opportunity share, 18 touches per game. He's going to get chances to score in this game and get us some fantasy points. It's also going to be a little bit of a run funnel as well. Maybe a short passing option funnel too. Run backs in this game, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. I see CJ Stroud pushing it downfield again. I see him using volume. And if he continues to do what he's doing, these wide receivers are going to hit. And it's either going to be a Collins game, Dell game, Robert Woods game. We don't know. But we know something's going to be happening with one of these pass catchers. Now looking at the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got a 38 over under. They're saying it's going to be an ugly game. It feels that way. It definitely feels that way. Definitely could see that happening. If this game script breaks, it's probably because of turnovers due to Kenny Pickett or something like that. I really just see this being ugly, just like how the over-under says. That being said, Zay Flowers, 7.3 targets per game, 28% target share on the season. Steelers are allowing 31.3 points per game to wide receivers. So there's going to be opportunity for the pass catchers in this one. Also, Mark Andrews. But Zay Flowers, that short A-dot, he's going to have to get volume, maybe some yak. But this could be the game where he has his big performance. Run backs, George Pickens, getting targets downfield, getting opportunity, has that dog in him. This could be a nasty game. He's a nasty player. Could be a perfect situation for him. Jalen Warren, just watch out for him. He's not a must-start or anything, but a player who's getting more touches each game throughout the season, and that could lead to something down the line. Now we're looking at the Saints at the New England Patriots. Another low over-under here as it's at 39. And Vegas is saying that, and I kind of see it, but I can also see how it can break. And that's if the Saints can push the pace, throwing it downfield. And if they can connect on some of those deep balls and get Mac Jones to push the pace, then we might have something. We might have an over here. But I can also see how it's going to be ugly like Vegas is trying to tell us. Also, the spread saying it's going to be tight. Definitely can see that as well. And thinking of that, Chris Olave. I mean, you can't go against him anyways. 9.5 targets per game, 27% target share, 13.4 points per game, 0 touchdowns. He's due. He's due for a mega splash game here. in the touchdown department, and then on top of the catches, the routes ran, and everything else, he's due. Run backs for the Patriots, they're very off and on. You don't know who's really going to hit. Ramondre Stevenson's only the safe guy there. Mac Jones, if you're looking at quarterback points, if this game hits, though. If it hits. But Ramondre Stevenson's probably the safest bet on that team. Now we're looking at the Carolina Panthers at the Detroit Lions. We got a 44 over-under. So Vegas is saying, hey, this game script is going to be pretty moderate. It's not going to be low scoring. It's not going to be high scoring. We look for the Panthers to slow things down a little bit. But can Detroit sling it? Or are they not going to pass as much like they did last week and kill it running the ball? That could happen. That could happen. And we could see that this week with David Montgomery. He's getting 24 touches a game, 20 fantasy points per game. We could also see a good game out of Jahmyr Gibbs as well, as the Panthers are allowing a lot of fantasy points to running backs, 25.4 a game here. So there's going to be opportunity in the run game. It could be another Monty game. Could be a Gibbs game, though. Gibbs could be catching some passes out of the backfield here. As they're stifling wide receivers, maybe the short area game is what's going to work for Lions, and Gibbs gets it. Maybe that happens. So don't sleep on him. Run backs, not many. Adam Thielen, it's not safe with the Panthers in this matchup unless Detroit pushes the pace, puts up some scoring, and makes the Panthers move. But Adam Thielen, not super safe, but a guy who's getting a lot of targets in his offense. Next, the Giants at the Dolphins, 48.5 over-under. We're starting all Dolphins. We're starting them until they tell us not to. They could hang 70 on the Giants. That could happen. The Giants have been horrible this year. They've been awful. Vegas is saying with the spread that the Dolphins should kill them. So that's something we're going to see. This should be a high-scoring game on the Dolphins' end. Maybe the Giants can run and try to play catch-up a little bit and get you some fantasy points that way. But you're starting your Dolphins. Raheem Mostert's due a game. He had a slow one last week. It was a Devin A-Chan, whatever you want to call him, Mr. 4chan. He had a good one last week and the week prior. He could still have another one. He's going to be good forever. Raheem Mostert, though, 15.3 touches a game, 48.8% opportunity share. I see these running backs taking turns or both going off. Depending on the matchup, they're both going to get opportunities. You're starting all Dolphins. On the run backs, you're not trusting Giants. You're not trusting him. Darren Waller should be getting targets, should be getting opportunity, probably more than what he saw last week maybe, but still, you're not trusting Giants. However, if Darren Waller sucks this week, guess what? He's only a few points away from being a tight end one. That's the funny part about being a tight end. Next, Titans at the Colts, 43 over under. So we got a lighter scoring game, Vegas is saying. We could have a slower one. Could go off the rails as well if something happens with turnovers. But I see the Titans wanting to run the ball. We got a quarterback on the Colts that wants to run the ball. We could have some clock burning in this one. Definitely could see that. That being said, with this being a tricky matchup, and with the Titans being a pass funnel defense because they are rock solid and stuff in the run, Michael Pittman, because he's getting almost 10 targets a game, 28% target share, running almost 40 routes, 70 air yards a game. So they're going after the alpha here. And then the run backs, as always for the Titans, because you don't really have anybody else. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins. And that's about it, because you're not starting insulated players from that team. Next, Cincinnati Bengals at the Cardinals, 44.5 over under here. Really, it just depends on Joe Burrow and the calf, T. Higgins and the rib and all that stuff. Cardinals is a tricky team. They are a very tricky team because they can come out of nowhere, stifle you a little bit. However, we're going to go with Joe Mixon here because running backs have found success in the fantasy department with 26.6 points per game against them. He's getting an 83.7% opportunity share. He's getting a lot of workload. He's also running a fair amount of routes in the passing game, seeing 54.6% of the routes ran. And it's a run funnel team as they're decent against the pass, so he should be getting opportunity. This passing offense has slowed down a little bit compared to previous years. For a run back, James Conner, but you're really not trusting Cardinals, even though you're catching a Cardinal every week doing something. Last week was Michael Wilson. Could be Marquise Hollywood Brown this week, but you got to see. But the Bengals defense is kind of tough on fantasy scoring as well. So you got to throw somebody in. Someone's going to score on the Cardinals. It Could be James Conner. Who knows? Next, Eagles at the Rams. 49.5 over under. And the thing about this is the Eagles are on the road at this one. You got to consider that. The Rams are one of the fastest paced teams in the league. This could be a burner. This could be a hitter on us. Should not get ugly. It should be a burner on us. I could definitely see that. Vegas is pretty much correct. I can't see how it goes wrong unless there's injuries, unless there's turnovers, unless there's dirty play or something. Puka Nacua. I don't care if Cooper Kupp's back. I don't care if Megatron gets signed. He's getting targets. We're not pivoting away from him. 13 targets a game. 32.5% target share. Say that decreases. What? 25% target share? 28% target share? 22% target share? Cooper Kupp gets Cooper Kupp target share. It's not going to impact Puka that much. It's just not. He's still going to get opportunity. Say he gets 9 to 10 targets per game instead of 13. He's still going to get opportunity. He's still going to be running a lot of routes. He's still going to be Puka Nacua. And you can throw in the Eagles a little bit as they're allowing 29 fantasy points per game to wide receivers. They're also allowing 738 receiving yards on the season. Run backs, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. I look for this game to get pushed. I look for a lot of scoring in this game. I look for this one to be a fun one. I look for the Rams to try to push it through the air as they've been doing all season because that's what they got to do. And that's really going to push the Eagles. And this is going to be a fun one to watch. Should be a lot of scoring. Chiefs at the Vikings. And man, I'm salivating at this one for fantasy. 53 over under. Vikings are going to try and hang with the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense, a little stingier than what you think. However, the Vikings got to throw the ball. They got to throw the ball. One of the fastest paced offenses in the league, and they were like that last year. They're going to be like this in this game. They're going to try that. They're at home. They're going to be throwing the football because that's how they can move the chains and be consistent. They're not going to come out there and try to be slow. This could be a high-scoring game. It could also get ugly, too, because if the Vikings slip up, the Chiefs have a stingier defense compared to what you imagine. That could slow it down a little bit. Odds are saying, though, this is going to be a high-scoring game because this pace is going to get pushed, especially in the back half of this one. That being said, Justin Jefferson, obviously, we can go into the stats here if you want. Almost 12 targets a game, 30% target share, running a ton of routes, scoring 26.3 points per game. But really, you're wanting to start everybody. You're starting random Chiefs receivers. Anybody's running routes in this game, you're starting. You're probably throwing in some running backs. You're starting everybody. We got a high point total here. Good things should happen in this game. And if this game breaks and goes south on us, my guess would be due to turnovers, due to some ugliness that we cannot predict. Next is the Jets at the Broncos here. 43.5 over under here. Ugly matchup. I'm surprised they only have 43.5 over under here because I do not see both teams scoring a lot here unless it breaks. I see this hitting under. I could definitely see that. That being said, we're going to roll with Breece Hall here. You can run on the Broncos. You can run all day on them. And he's supposed to get a full workload. Whatever that means. They said it in the news, in the media. Whatever that means. That could be just coach speak. 44.2% opportunity share, so I'm expecting maybe 50% or so out of him. Some opportunity against a weak run defense of the Broncos. Run backs, I don't really want to run anybody back, but I know someone's going to do something. Maybe Sutton, maybe Bims, maybe Jerry Jeudy. I know something's going to happen, but you can't trust it. We're fading Broncos. Next, Cowboys at the Niners. 45 over under. This is going to be a tricky game as both defenses are solid. Both offenses have weapons. So this could go nuclear. This could go south. I imagine this game's going to have some headlines. I imagine this game's going to have some storylines at the end of it. And what we're going to see here is a tough Dallas run defense go up against a Christian McCaffrey. That's going to be a fun battle. You're starting Christian McCaffrey. We've seen this team bend a lot. The Cowboys defense, off and on in matchups they shouldn't bend over the last few years. I mean, their entire existence. This could be one of those moments. I could see McCaffrey having a decent game here. Maybe not a bonkers game, but still having some good fantasy numbers. Run backs, CeeDee Lamb, he's getting target share. Tony Pollard seeing the touches. You want to chase the touches in a tough matchup like this because it's going to be hard to predict. Next, Packers at the Raiders, 45 over under. Could go south, could go north. I imagine it's going to be a marginal game with marginal amount of scoring in it. maybe 30, 40, 50 point score. But that being said, we are going to roll with Josh Jacobs here. He's getting an 82.1% opportunity share. We can run on this Packers defense. He's getting a lot of touches. He's seeing a lot of work in the passing game. He's getting enough opportunity. Of course, you're rolling with Josh Jacobs. Run backs, you're going to gamble on the wide receivers, whether it's Jaden Reed, whether it's Romeo Doubs, whoever's out there running routes, really Musgrave if you want to. One of those guys are going to hit. Not all those guys. One of those guys are going to hit. It's a gamble, though. Aaron Jones, you can run a little bit on the Raiders as well. He's going to be getting opportunity. We got to see what happens with that. Don't feel great about it, but you got to do what you got to do, and you got to chase those touches. But those are 13 must-start players for Week 5. Remember, drop your start-sit questions in the comment section below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out, and I'll catch you on the next video.